Welcome to Doomscroll, everyone. I'm Matt Sheffield.
And I'm Lisa Curry, and today's guest is my hilarious friend, Alison Leiby. Hi,
Hi.
Alison.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
So
thanks for
happy to
being
be here.
on.
Stay in this like very narrow rectangle that we all have to be in. I
Well,
move a
don't
lot, so
worry. We'll get into a bigger one later.
okay,
Don't
great.
Yeah.
worry. We have a big
Eventually,
budget. We have
big
two camera shots.
rectangle coffin.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right. All right. Well, let's. There was a lot of news as per usual, and I think the biggest thing that happened in the last few days is that Donald Trump lost the damages phase of his trial. The lawsuit brought against him by E. Jean Carroll, the columnist. So he'd already been found liable by a jury for sexually assaulting her, and a second jury said he had to pay $83 million for slandering her as well.
Amazing.
So good. I mean, he doesn't
I'm
have it, but it's
That's the
nice in
thing.
theory.
That's the thing. It's like, and even if he did have it, like, how would they get it from him? Because he doesn't pay anyone anything he owes them. I'm like, would they
Right.
garnish his wages? That's a
Right. Like what
joke.
wages? Like, like what money's coming in that they could even take from? I don't think there's money
Yeah.
coming in. It's just like
Yeah.
him asking, like, all of our grandparents for, like, $3 at a time via email or something. It's like, I mean, I guess
Which,
you could take a
to
percentage
be
of
honest,
all of those.
they're good for it, to be honest. Like, I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah, they have the money.
um, yeah, but and you know what though, it is actually the case though that because he spent so much of his campaign money on lawyers now, that he actually is starting to have some trouble raising money from his small dollar donors, because people are just like they've already tapped him out. Like just for the hell of it, because in addition to having a comedy podcast, I'm also a journalist, and I, for the hell of it, had signed up for Donald Trump's mailing list one time, and
Matt, why would
they
you do that to yourself?
I want to see how the other half lives. And no,
Yeah.
like they spam the fuck out of that mailing list. Like they'll send you like 3 or 4 emails a day saying, "Give me money, give me money,
Yes.
give me money," and like that's and so that's got to burn out their contributors for
Yeah.
sure. And so I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to see it.
I just love that he turned a $5 million settlement into an $83 million settlement because she got so much more because he just cannot shut the fuck up. It's
Yeah.
it's crazy to me that someone in such a, like, I guess, high stakes situation can't bring themselves to like, if I had the money he claims he has, you would not see me. I would not have a Twitter. I wouldn't have a computer. I would be living in fucking Fiji drinking margaritas. Do you
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah, this is like the amazing business Donald Trump that he thinks he is, turning a $5 million claim into $83 million. Like, he's a great at business for other people getting his money.
Yeah.
He's good at that, I think.
Yeah.
That's true. And well, I know, and his attorney in the case, Alina Habba, oh God, she was like celebrating as if she had won the case. Uh,
And do you think she knows
just
that they lost? Or
She
I
might not
actually don't
know.
think she does, because clearly Trump did not hire her for her brains. He hired her because she looks like his daughter and wife
Yes.
stuck together.
I love that she even said, like, "Well, I'd rather be hot than smart because you can fake being smart." And I'm like, "Are you the mayor of Los Angeles?"
Yeah.
Because that is the most LA thing I've ever heard, and honestly, those people do find great success. So maybe I'm the fucking idiot here.
Right. I mean, no one cares if you're smart. And you can fake being hot though. I mean, I've been on TikTok and seen people with like filters and I'm like, "Oh, that's like not your face, but I guess."
Yeah, yeah, you can buy being hot.
Yeah. Hot people should be worried about the internet if they ever go on it.
That's right. Yeah,
So
but some of those
stupid.
makeup hack people, man, they are talented. You have to give them
Mhm. They're like,
that.
"If you just spend 3.5 hours and paint your face with 4 layers,
I
you
know. It's
can
like
look
I didn't
great."
go to RISD. I don't think I can do that. Like I'm not an art I don't have an MFA. Like I can't do that anymore. Nor am I a chemist. Like, there's just it just has it's
Kidding.
gone way over my head.
No kidding. And you just shower and you clog the drain from chunks of makeup? Come on, everyone.
Right.
What are we doing?
Yeah,
What are we
you're
doing?
you're a walking environmental disaster on your face.
It is always fascinating to me too. I mean, like, uh, I understand why it's not great to just attack somebody for their looks, even if you can't stand them. But for somebody that's so obsessed with looks, I'm like, you would think he would eat a vegetable or, get a facelift or something. What is he doing?
Trump?
Yeah, it's
I
like you're
think he
dumb
thinks
and
he looks
ugly.
good. I think that he's, like, so delusional that he's
Oh
like,
yeah.
"This is the look." Like, I look exactly like I did in the '80s when I was my most powerful and appealing, and I think he's like, "It still works. This still, like, holds up for me." I don't think he sees a problem at all.
Yeah, this spray
Yeah,
tan is where it's at.
no, Allison, I think you're right because like, and then when he has people to compare himself to, it's like a 90-year-olds who are the Mar-a-Lago customers. And you know what? He does, in fact, look better than, those people who are showing up there with 20 years of plastic surgery and, looking like Michael Jackson's elderly grandmother.
Just the other like, the rest of the Republican field, like, it's not like it's a bunch of super hot people. Like, they're all on a spectrum of like, yeah, I mean, what's the difference between Ted Cruz and Donald Trump physically? Not much.
Yeah, it's
Well,
great.
yeah, and speaking of somebody who at this point should not be out there also is Nancy
Oh
Pelosi.
Lord.
So she over the weekend she was interviewed by CNN, and she said that the Gaza ceasefire protests are made by Russia.
My house all the time. So I have a feeling for what feelings they have. But we have to think about what we're doing. And what we have to do is try to stop the suffering in Gaza. This is women and children, people who don't have a place to go. So let's address that. But for them to call for a ceasefire is Mr. Putin's message. Mr. Putin's message.
Mr.
Make no
Putin.
mistake, this is directly connected to what he would like to see. Same thing with Ukraine. It's about Putin's message. I think some of these protesters are spontaneous and organic and sincere. Some, I think, are connected to Russia. And I say that having looked at this for a long time now, as you know.
You think some of these protests are Russian plants?
I say they're plants. I think some financing should be investigated. And I want to ask the FBI to investigate that. But
Oh,
apart
good.
from that, let's just say it's all spontaneous and sincere.
Let's just say.
Let's say it's all spontaneous and sincere. Young people care about the right to choose. They care about LGBTQ issues. They care about preserving the planet. They care about gun violence prevention. That's what they tell us. They care about our democracy and the freedoms that are contained in some of what I said. So they're going to have to make a decision, staying home to enable or to.
So yeah.
The idea that what Putin really wants most is for people to die is
In
so
Israel. Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Putin is calling for a ceasefire. Yes, because he cares so deeply about the Palestinian people that he just can't stand to see. I'm like, he's had Russians killed.
Yeah, his
There's
friends.
planes falling out of the sky. Yes, yes. What are you talking about? Nancy Pelosi has long since lost it. It's really frustrating.
I love when she's
Well,
like,
yeah.
Gaza, like, people in Gaza have no homes, they have no food, and it's like, why not? Why don't they have those things? Like,
Yeah.
like I would love for you to I'm glad that you could acknowledge that the crisis there is real in terms of human suffering, but like, just draw one line to acknowledge
No.
how
How
that
did
happened.
that happen? How did that happen?
It wasn't like an
And
act,
she's like, and it's a mystery.
and oh my god,
It's
and
just
also
this
like
thing that happened.
the like disdain she had at the end of like listing all of those like liberal policies that young people support, like the right to
Mhm.
choose and LGBTQ rights. And she's like, that's what they tell us they want. I'm like, oh, so we're forcing you to do those things too? Like, what? Oh, I can't
Yeah.
stand her. Can't
Yeah.
And
stand
it's
her.
she's I legitimately had beef with somebody on an in a former circle of friends. I'm trying to not narrow it down to
Yeah, yeah,
where I
yeah. I get it.
know to where I know this person from.
And
But she was like a Nancy Pelosi fanatic. And I'm like, you were one of the dumbest people I know. This is like this conflation of like girl power or like girl boss. I'm like, she's an asshole. And she's been dismissive of what young voters want again and again and again anyway. So what is she talking
for
about when she's
30
like this?
years, basically.
Yeah, she's like, these are the things they want. Since when do you care? What are you talking about?
Well, I know, and she's basically said in that clip that, if you want these things, you have to give us whatever we want,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we don't have to do anything for you. And like they say these kinds of awful, thoughtless, callous remarks, and then they wonder why a lot of progressive younger people
Hmm.
don't like the Democratic Party, and it's like this is I couldn't think of a better clip to make younger people offended at the Democratic Party. Like you just couldn't almost did like this is
Yeah.
like a Republican ad basically almost
Yeah.
for demotivating people.
Also, like every single policy that she listed as like a trade-off for continuing it's not even a war but just a mass genocide, like all of those things are also wrapped up in this. Like it is a climate
Hmm.
disaster that there's so much fighting happening in Gaza, and like what they're doing and destroying and what
Hmm.
they're creating from a CO2 standpoint. Like it is guns, it is like it's all of these things. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, those things are also present in that. Like,
Yeah, I'm
ay,
also like when she said the irony also the deep irony of Nancy Pelosi saying we need to follow the money is like, girl, we need to find out about your stock holdings.
right.
That's the money we need to follow. Like it's just like the most rudimentary case of like, no, look over there at what that person's doing. It's like look at we know
Where are
what
you?
you're
Yes,
doing.
right.
Yeah. Well, and then also she's in that clip literally saying she wants the FBI to investigate her own political coalition. Like,
Right.
what in the actual fuck
Ooh.
is that? Who
Oh my
does
god.
this? Who like how can you be this stupid? But they
And
come
yet
up with new stuff
Yeah.
in new ways every day.
Yeah.
Uh I don't
yeah,
know.
at this
So
point, they would only be surprising if she was like, "Let's acknowledge that this is a genocide and put a stop to." I'd be like, "Whoa, what's happening?"
Yeah.
But everything
It's
else
like
she says, I'm just like, "I guess."
yeah.
I'm surprised she's not still trying to keep Dianne Feinstein in office because she had been mostly dead
Yes.
for years.
Yes.
Just
Basically.
absolutely
Yeah. No, like
idiotic.
Democrats, you need to put this woman out to pasture for God's
Yes.
sake.
Mhm.
Get get
Yeah.
rid of her, make her retire, make her go away.
Right.
It's
Like,
over.
you have the
People
money.
are done with her. Yeah.
I'll never understand the, like, old, mostly white, politician game plan. I guess
Wants
it's
to
just
die in
power hungry,
office.
where I'm
Yeah.
like, why on earth when you like they have millions and like Nancy Pelosi has tens and or hundreds of millions of dollars, like stop
Yeah.
going to work. Like I'll stop
Yeah.
going to work when I have, 6 figures in the bank and then that's it. And I won't work anymore.
Allison, when I have $40, I stop going to work.
Yeah. I'm like, well, good. I'm good now. I don't have to do this anymore. And I love my job. And I'm still like, I don't want to go.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding.
Exactly. Well, so in other Middle East news, over the weekend there was an attack on some American soldiers in the country of Jordan, and it was at a location that Lisa has been to
Oh.
before.
Yeah,
So
it
that,
was very I just heard the news this morning and I'm not like claiming any kind of hardship from it, obviously, hopefully obviously. It's just really surreal because it was on a
Of course.
military base that's in Jordan, like on the Syrian border, really close to Iraq. And I'm like, I performed there in 2019. It's just really bizarre to have a connection to something there that it's like
Yeah.
also I'm you know, it's obviously the United States is going to defend itself, but then also Jordan is an ally. And I'm like, this is going to turn into a huge war in the Middle East. Like we
Mhm.
just and it feels like I don't know, the US just can't we can't not get further involved. Like
Yeah.
it feels like the US is just so excited to get further involved. And again, let's look at Nancy Pelosi's stock portfolio.
Yeah. Well, and Lindsey Graham, God, like that guy was practically jizzing all over himself this weekend about bombing
Mhm.
Iran. Because like that's been his fantasy for his entire life, seems like, to nuke millions of Iranians. Like
Yes.
that's what this guy gets out of bed for every day. Uh, and but like, and this is another reason though why we need a ceasefire there, because that was literally the goal of Hamas by attacking Israel, was
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
create a larger war in the Middle East against Israel. And so, if you're Israel, it is actually in your own interest to get this thing over with and stop
Mhm.
Right.
fucking murdering people. But Benjamin Netanyahu is a fucking fascist,
Yeah.
and for a fascist, the only solution to any conflict is violence and killing people. And
Mhm.
so that's the only thing he knows how to do. But Israel's got to get rid of this guy for sure.
Yeah.
It's
All right.
also
Well, that wasn't
frustrating,
very
and I
funny.
don't yeah, no, no,
It's just like a bummer. I mean, I guess it all is.
yeah, it's all a huge bummer, and it's everyone I know is fighting with everyone else I know, and it's crazy. I mean, Allison, I really appreciate your point of view because, well, because I appreciate anyone that agrees with me.
Of course. I want to live in an echo
But
that's what
chamber.
that's what
but
we're
it's
here for, Lisa.
yes, of course it is. Of course, it's horrible that any Jewish people were taken hostage or harmed at all or killed. That's awful.
Of
Nobody
course.
wants that.
Mhm.
And the idea that anyone that's saying 33,000 people is a little bit too much retaliation is anti-Semitic is insane to me.
Yeah.
Insane.
It's crazy. And to see, and it's like I think that like it's like easy also to like pull out like, the little snippets of like videos or like pieces of information that like, I saw a video this morning of I don't know if it was IDF soldiers or just people in Israel like celebrating with the flag taking over land that they took
Yeah,
from
I saw
Palestinians.
that.
And it's like, okay, well, for these people, I don't think it's exactly about the hostages. It's about like slowly taking back
Yeah.
or not taking back, taking that land from people who were living on it. But it's like, I don't think that the people that are in my life that I end up like disagreeing with about this feel like that in the same way that like I feel like the people who support Israel look at there is like a faction of incredibly anti-Semitic people that are
Mhm.
in support of a free Palestine, and that I think is a very small sliver in comparison to how many people are like, "Wait, just stop killing children." I don't see how that should possibly be controversial.
Yeah.
So I think there's this like very, the internet like loves to show us like the worst examples and let people on the other
Mhm.
side think that that's the entire block of support. And I have to keep reminding myself, but also I'm a Jewish person who's like, well, not in my name. Like that's not. I don't like this. Don't do that.
Yeah.
We should be the most sensitive to what a genocide looks like and how it can destroy an existing culture.
Yeah. It's it's really disappointing to see. I mean, I've had some friends that and I'm not getting into arguments with them because I'm like, okay,
No.
well, this isn't I was raised Catholic. I'm out.
Also, like, I don't have the tools to change someone's mind on this. This
Yeah.
is too deep in how you feel about things for a casual conversation to change.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
It's uh tough and I think it's just so emotionally fraught for a lot of people that it's why, and there's still plenty of anti-Semitism, but it's also
Yeah.
like there's a whole lot of people that are Islamophobic, and like I have a lot of
Hmm.
friends that are Muslim or just like vaguely Arab that were
Mhm.
terrorized for years after
Yeah, after
9/11. Like I
9/11.
have friends of mine whose homes were vandalized, they were the victims of arson
I mean, hell,
and
I know people
physical
who
abuse.
were Sikh and like
Yeah.
not Muslim at
Yeah,
all, and
Yeah.
like they were victimized by that. Like it has
well,
nothing
it
to
turns
do with
out
Islam even
racism is
necessarily.
Yes.
stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's just racist. It has
Yeah.
nothing to do with almost anything else.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, this is an opportunity." They're not like, "What region is your family from?"
Right. It's like, ooh,
Before I
brown.
hate
Yeah.
Crimea, they're like, "If you have too much of a tan,
Yeah.
fucking we're coming for you."
I mean,
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Fun stuff, guys.
Well, well,
Huh?
something that actually is funny. So you know, in the 2000s, a lot of people started turning to Jon Stewart for their news
Mhm.
Mhm.
because when he actually had Republicans on his show, The Daily Show, he actually asked them relevant questions about their
Yeah.
viewpoints and like actually forced them to give real answers to important subjects. And and it was and he had many other problems because I think he generally kind of conflated the two parties instead of, saying how much worse the Republican Party was. But nonetheless, he did at least make Republicans sit on the hot seat, and the national media almost never does that. But over the weekend in Florida, there was a Republican who was confronted by a local Florida radio host for taking credit for bills that she voted against, and this is a thing of
You love
beauty
to
to
see it.
watch. Yeah, this guy named Jim DeFede interviewed Representative Maria Salazar, and it is amazing.
Last month, you were at FIU and you presented a check for $650,000 to help small businesses at FIU. But you voted against the bill that gave the money that you then signed a check for and handed and had a photo op, the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2023, right? You voted against that bill.
Right now, you have to give me more details, but I do know that every time I have an opportunity to bring money to my constituents, I do so. I just did $400,000. But look,
well,
let's go.
But you voted against the Chips and Science Act, right?
Listen, right now I need to ask my staff. What are we looking at? The $40 million that I have brought to this community. Aren't you proud of me? Aren't you proud of the $40 million?
Are you proud of me?
Aren't you proud that I wrote the Dignity Act? Let's talk about the Americas Act.
Wait a second. Let me 1 second.
Tell me.
The money that you talk about, the $40 million that you bring back to the district, sometimes that money comes from bills that you voted against. You voted against the CHIPS Act, and yet you praise the fact that the South Florida Climate Resilience Tech Hub is going to be started in Miami, right? You voted against the infrastructure bill, and you talk about all the money that comes back to the airport. So at the same time that you're taking credit for the money that you bring back to the district, in Washington, you're voting against these projects on party line votes.
Listen, that was, I think, last cycle. I cannot really remember right now, but just look at the Americas Act, which is what I'm going to, which is what I would like.
You don't want to explain why you voted against things.
I mean, right now, and I'm not trying to be a politician, there's so many bills that I've introduced that I know that many of them.
These are bills that you voted against.
That I understand, but it's okay. Sometimes I vote and sometimes I don't. But let's look at the positive. Let's look at the $40 million that I brought, and let's look at the.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Let's look at the positive. Let's look at the 40 million that I brought. And he just continues to say, no, but you voted against it. Yes, but let's look at the positive. I brought it. What are you saying? This feels like, also, sadly, I'm like, I feel like if you asked most politicians, if you held their feet to the fire in the same way, they would, like, a similar thing would happen with a lot of them, especially Republicans.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I love that she was like, listen, that was last year. Like, I don't know what was going on last year. I was young and and careless. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure what was going on. It's like,
very like
this
what
was the biggest bill of the entire Congress. It was literally the federal budget, and you
right.
voted against it.
It's also like when
Don't tell me
somebody
you
like
don't fucking remember it.
tracks
Yeah.
back gossip to me and they're like, "Did you say this?" And I'm like, "I don't I don't remember where exactly I heard that." Like, yeah, I said it. Like
Yeah, it's like I would never have. I mean, I certainly don't think that of you now. I don't recall thinking that of you.
right. No. I mean, that was just like one day. Like
Yeah,
yeah, an
I must
important
have
day.
been
Important vote.
having. You know what I was having? Was that the day my aunt died? It could. It probably. Yeah, it probably was. It probably was.
Also, all of this is just like her just acknowledging how like powerless she it's like, yeah, I voted against it. Still went through. We still got the money. It's like, oh, then what the fuck are you doing? Like, what are
Yeah,
Why are you
why are
even
you
here?
even here?
that and also like I can you either of you imagine showing up to work and not knowing what is going on to that degree and then keeping your job? Like when she's like, "Oh, I don't even know what I voted for. I have no recollection." Like, what?
Right. You should
Yeah,
be
for
put
the
up for like
biggest bill of the year. Yeah.
you should be put up for a vote out of office if that gets exposed. If it's like, "Oh, she
Yeah.
voted against this money that's coming to all of you. Do you still want her here?" And everybody
Yeah.
should be able to go show
Well,
up and be like,
no,
"No."
yeah, exactly. And this is the kind of interview you don't see on,
Yeah.
CNN or CBS or NBC. Like, they don't do these types of interviews because it would jeopardize their entire fucking business model, which
Right.
is
Yeah.
to pretend that the Republican Party is not a bunch of, racist morons. Like,
Right.
this is a party run by racist morons who hate everyone.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
that's the reality. Anyone can see that if you just fucking look at it for 15 minutes, that this is a joke of a political party that can't
Mhm.
even pass a fucking budget. Like, literally, the Congress that we're in right now is the most unproductive Congress in decades. Like,
Right.
and like, they literally cannot do anything. But we can't say that in the national
Right.
news media. You can't say that this is an unserious party, dedicated to nothing other than, filleting Donald Trump. That's about it.
A task that even his wife wasn't up for.
So yeah, so kudos
Yeah.
to that guy. Wow,
Yeah.
it was amazing. We need more of that stuff.
Yeah. Look, maybe
We
she was one of the recipients of all the prescription drugs that were being given away by the White House. Maybe that's why she doesn't know what the fuck was going on. Which
Oh
what
yeah,
a
that was an
fucking wild
amazing
story
story.
this is.
Oh yeah. No, well, go ahead. You can do it.
Well, I was gonna say, so the Defense Inspector General found that the Trump White House was giving away prescription drugs just willy-nilly and also racking up tens of thousands of dollars in bills, that we all paid for
Mhm.
in name brand prescription drugs, which like it's crazy to know that people just had like free access to whatever pills they wanted.
Mhm.
And also, it's extremely insulting considering people are, like, not able to keep themselves alive because they can't afford $4,000 a month for cancer medication or whatever the fuck.
Right.
I'm like,
Mhm.
like, that's what January 6th should have been about.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's like we can't afford to stay alive. Like, and you guys are just like popping back Viagra like it's Pez for free on our dollar. I don't it's also like the same administration that told people that the vaccine wasn't good is the same administration that's giving away drugs. Like, pick a lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and like, and some of the details are they're just incredible. Like, they gave little packets to people when they went on a trip that was filled with Ambien and Provigil. So, they're just like, hey, here, it was like fucking Halloween in the Trump White House. But like, which of course makes me think like this is why they're so pretending to be concerned about Hunter Biden, because this is what they were doing. Because
Mhm.
every accusation is a confession with these Republicans, and that's clearly what was going on. I mean, it was like Nick Riviera in the White House medical office,
Right.
the Simpsons character.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Dr. Nick. He's the best.
I would like the White House to be a little bit more tight-fisted on pills, on handing out pills than your average house party in the hills in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I mean, I just stay below that level. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah. I also just I hate that there are brand name prescription drugs. There should just be
Yes.
one generic for every medicine that we have. I don't
Yeah, we don't need designer.
I don't need a designer drug. Is it going to make me go to sleep? I don't care what box it came in anymore.
Yeah.
And that'll cost me more.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, and yet it does.
Yep,
And
it's
and some people will do it. Like, I know some people
trillion-dollar industry.
who literally will not take anything other than branded NyQuil. And it's like
right.
you can
Right.
they can literally look at the box and they won't, and it has the same ingredients, but they're like, no, it's NyQuil, it's better.
Right.
I've
some
had
of
somebody
them
tell me that.
taste better.
And I'm
That's
just
true.
like, what in the fuck?
Yeah.
Well, now in news that gives at least a little faith in humanity, I would say. NASA has announced that the helicopter that they had sent to Mars and has been flying around for 3 years has finally no longer able to take flight. And it's actually a great story how that little tiny helicopter that weighs like 13 pounds or something, and has been it was only designed to fly for like a few minutes, and they did such a good job. It lasted for 3 years, and it flew 11 miles, and it was designed to fly for like 15 minutes. I mean, it's amazing. NASA, great job, guys.
Can they
Hopefully
make
it can
the next
hold
iPhone?
passengers. Yeah, no
My phone
kidding.
dies in 12 minutes. I would love for something to last for 3 years.
Yeah,
Exactly.
look, that would be bringing more jobs to America. I'm with you, Allison. That's a great idea.
Yeah,
I
Elon
don't know
Musk
what we're
wants to go
doing
to
on.
Mars. Let's send him there, please.
Yeah,
But
go
as
with
long as
Yeah,
it's
for
one way
God's
only.
sakes. For God's sakes, please. Well, I'm going way off track again, but isn't he offering one-way tickets to Mars? Wasn't that a thing?
I think so.
It was, yeah. Yeah.
What? I can't wait for his fans to do that. Please, again, round up everyone in Austin. I was
Yeah.
just there for 2 weeks, and I can tell you, it sucks.
And then we'll slingshot it into the sun instead of Mars.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
But I guess speaking though of space stories, much funnier one is that the movie Dune 2 is ramping up for marketing. It's going to be coming out soon, and one of the promos that they did for it has just kind of caught the internet on fire. It was for their popcorn bucket.
Yeah, well, I don't know if anyone on the internet has seen a vagina, because this looks strikingly like a butthole to me. Yeah.
It's giving butthole.
Well, that was the weird thing, and I'm like, when you look at this thing, what vaginas have you seen if you think this looks like a vagina?
They're not circles, that's for sure.
What kind of
yourself,
aliens
Allison.
have you been fucking if you think that looks like a vagina?
Also, can we cool it with the ridiculous cups and containers? Are we it's like adults wanting Happy Meal toys at this point, between this and the what is it, the Yeti cup? Is that what that's called? The giant or whatever it is. The Stanley cup.
Yeah.
Which we already have something called the Stanley
I know.
cup.
That's why it's so stupid.
And it's also, who are these people that need to keep liquids hot for 45 hours? What? Make a fresh cup of coffee. What are you doing?
Also, is it the idea of a commemorative this is popcorn bucket, right?
Yeah.
That you would perhaps bring it home and use it again. Like I just like I'm like, what's the like scenario where someone like 6 months later is like, oh, I'm finally gonna watch The Holdovers. Better make some popcorn and like pulling out like the Doom anus bowl and
Well,
Dune.
well, yeah.
Like it's such a
And
Well, and
strange.
like why like it's completely defies the point of a bucket for popcorn, which is like you put your hand in and this thing with the little spines is going to make your popcorn fall out of your hand. Like
Yeah, you'd
it's
have to
like
grip it really tight, pulling it out, and then it's just like I don't want I want to
smashed
kind of just
popcorn.
you know, yuck.
Yeah, I don't need an alien fleshlight to eat my popcorn out
No.
of.
it's also like nobody's having no one is having the amount of popcorn at home that you have
No,
at a theater. No one's having 6 barrels of popcorn
no.
at home.
Well, and here's the other thing is that so I am a Dune fan, full disclosure. But like they
Well, that's
literally
good.
have a thing in there, in the books and movies of a box that you can put your hand in, and of course it makes you have great pain and whatever, and I forget whatever they call it, but like that's a thing in there. But instead of making that to put your hand in to take your popcorn out, they made this weird, and it doesn't even look like the sandworm or whatever.
Mhm.
Literally, like if
Yeah.
you look at the side of it, it's like it has bricks on it or something. It's like what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I
Uh,
have a feeling since it does look like a butthole, people are gonna just put liquid in it and just tip it up to their face
Yeah.
and just suck the liquid out.
I don't. Yeah, it's like the first popcorn bucket where you can bring your own topping for it.
Ugh, I love it. Butthole shaped cups.
Great. The movies.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cinema.
Cinema. Exactly. They're gonna be
the
served at
human
the
race
last
has
3 AMCs
we,
on the planet.
we have come so far as a species. All
Hilarious.
right. Well, so that is our final story of the day. So it's been great having you here today, Allison.
Oh, so many
Um,
uplifting stories.
hey, there's a reason we call
Yeah.
it Doomscroll here.
Yes. Really
But
fitting.
so for people who want to keep up with what you're up to, what do they need to know?
You can follow me on Instagram and for some reason still Twitter, at Alison Leiby, ALISONLEIBY. And I'm on TikTok, but I've only posted 2 TikToks and I don't really quite understand what I'm doing on there, but there's one of my cats. So if you want to get your eyes on Riz the cat, that's happening there. And then just
I
doing
love it.
shows around New York. So I post all my
I
shows.
love it.
Yeah.
Riz is the
Awesome.
best.
Riz is the best.
And you can find me on Instagram, please, at Olympian Lisa Curry. I post all my show stuff there and thousands upon thousands of photos of my dog. So you've that to look forward to.
All right. And then everybody make sure to follow at Doomscroll Show on all the places and do it because you need to. So
Yeah.
that's it for this one. And we'll see everybody next week.
Bye.